Hi, now you're going to see how to back up your website. It's really important that you back up your website because it keeps your site safe in case any kind of problem ever happens. Now, the question is, when should you back up your website? HostGator is going to routinely back up your website, so you don't need to do it every day. You don't even need to do it every week. And in fact, your website is really designed not to have a lot of changes to it. So the only time you need to do a backup is, number one, when you first get your site. This is one of the first things that you should do. Number two, it's before you make any kind of change to your site. And those changes are going to mainly consist of adding or changing pages and updating WordPress themes or plugins. Now, don't worry how you do any of that because it's going to come up in future videos. But the idea is that every time you make a change to your site, before you make that change, just for safety's sake, you make a copy of it. And that's the backup copy. Then you store that copy on your computer. If something happens, some kind of problem that you didn't anticipate, then you can always contact HostGator and have them restore the backup. It's important to understand that there are two ways to log into your website. There's logging into what's called cpanel, and that controls the basic operations of your entire website. The other way to log in is through the WordPress admin, and that's where you are going to be controlling your WordPress site. So, cpanel controls your whole website, WP admin controls your WordPress. To do a backup on your entire website, you go into the cpanel login. So let's do that right now. The first thing that you do to get into the cpanel backup is you put your domain, in this case we're using wealthbytheweb.com, followed by /cpanel. And when you do that, a screen like this is going to come up. Now, you put in your login information, and this is your HostGator cpanel login information. We've already put it in here, and so now we're just going to click the button to log in. Now we're in what's called the control panel. Now, before we get into backup, there's a couple of things that you should notice. You'll notice here that there's a section on mail, and this is where you can set up additional email accounts if you want to. And there's another video on how to do that. Okay, but we're going to go to the section on files, and you'll see that there's a thing here called the backup wizard. Before we do that, the file manager is going to let you see all the files that are on your host computer. Now, really don't use this unless you know exactly what you're doing, because it's easy to erase something or change something that will dramatically affect how your site works. The backup wizard is really a no-brainer. So what you do is you just click on it, and when you do, this is going to come up. And it's very, very simple. It's 3 steps. The first step is to decide whether you're going to back up or restore. So we're going to go down here and click on backup. Then the second step is to decide whether you're going to do a full or partial backup. The chances are you're going to want to do a full backup. The only time that you don't want to do a full backup is when you have more than 4 gigabytes of data to back up, and that's very, very unlikely for your internet business in a box. Okay, so click on full backup. Okay, and now it will list here any backups that you currently have on the host computer. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. The backup destination is where it's going to put the backup, and the home directory is the best place, so don't touch that. So the only other thing you want to do is to have the email address where you're going to be notified when the backup is done. And what I recommend is that you use the email address that goes to your cell phone. That's my phone backup, and then you just click on Generate Backup. Okay, and now it'll tell you that the full backup is in progress. So now you wait until your phone is notified that the backup is done. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause this for a second, and then we'll come back when we get that notification. Okay, we're back. Now I've been notified on my cell phone that the cpanel backup is done, but I'm going to show you what it looks like here on the computer. And you'll see that there's a message here that says from cpanel, and it says the full backup is completed. And when you click on it, you get something that looks kind of like this. Now don't worry about the details here. It's not really important. Just make sure that it says that it's done. And the only time that it won't say that is if some kind of error occurs. Now what's happened is that HostGator has created a copy of your entire website and put it in the home directory of your website. And what you want to do is you want to take that copy and move it onto your own personal computer. So let's see how you do that. Okay, let's go back to HostGator, and this is where we left off. So now we just click on Go Back. You'll see that there are 3 backups, whereas before there were 2 backups. And today is April 14th, 2015, so you can see right here the date. Now what you want to do is to get that onto your computer, and it's really simple to do it. All you have to do is click on it, and that will start downloading. And you can see that it's going to take about a minute for it to download, so we'll pause again for a second. And now we're back again, and you can see that the file has been downloaded. Now what you want to do is you want to take that file and put it into a folder where you're always using the same folder. This happens to be the Chrome browser. Your browser may be a little bit different, but basically the same. So you want to take it and you want to show it in the folder, and that's going to look like this. And you'll see now that we have our backup file stored on the computer, but it's in the download directory. And what we want to do is put it in a different directory. That's very easy to do. What we want to do is to bring up the backup directory that we created, and we're going to shrink down this window just a bit so we can put both of them on at the same time. And now here's our backup directory. So what you need to do is take this and just move it into this directory and give it a second to copy. And then the best practice is to store the latest 2 backups. So what we can do is get rid of this one that has a date 2/28 and just delete it. And that's it. That's all there is to backing up your directories. It's easy to do. Do it on a regular basis, and we'll see you in the next video.